The former Navy SEAL that founded Blackwater, that works for the United States government on a military contracting basis around the world, is very, very nervous about homegrown terror and terror that's being imported through our open border policies. They're talking about a catastrophe that is on the near horizon. Claire, there was an interesting interview, former Navy SEAL and the founder of Blackwater, Erik Prince, talking about the infiltration into the United States of untold numbers of possible jihadists. We have no idea. Nobody, DHS, the president, Border Patrol, we have no idea on any level, governmental or local, national or local, I should say, as to how many of those guys have come across the border, because the catch and release program promised to come back to your court date. Of course, none of them do, or very few. If there is a call to action, are we in as big a trouble as some people say we might be?
Well, I think that we are. Yes, indeed. That interview with Erik Prince was conducted by Epoch Times reporter interviewer Roman Balmakov at CPAC earlier this month of March, in the CPAC conference venue there. And Erik Prince was talking about, just as you say, this flood of who knows how many, who knows from where, who knows with what intentions, even if the vast majority of them are just coming for a better life, better jobs, and so forth. Even if out of those millions, and it's millions, small percentage of them come here with malign intent, we're in trouble. And as I have written and talked about elsewhere too, it's not just jihadis. It's certainly jihadis who would have to be out of their minds not to take advantage of that wide open southern border. But it's this red-green axis we talk about sometimes, which would include the red communist Marxist. We've talked about the Chinese jungle tigers, military men from China coming across our border in a kind of an alliance and alignment with the green, the jihadis. This could be a very tumultuous year.
It's the real scary part is you've mentioned a couple of these semi-aligned groups. They don't really meet together, but they all have the same goal. And it's the goal that really scares me, which is the destruction of the United States and the replacement of the United States with some radical state that they envision to hurry along their world as they see it. And we, and I'm not making this up, are facilitating it 1,000 miles an hour every day. We have wide open borders. If you mention, or I mention, the fact how many bad guys have come across, how many of those guys want to blow up a power plant? You're a racist, an Islamophobe, and on and on and on. And the name calling starts until you just shut up and go away, or at least that's their goal. I know you're not going to shut up, but that's the goal. And one more thing, and when we think about 9/11, it was a handful of guys, just a handful. One guy on a dam in 15 cities or a water treatment plant, and we're in a world of hurt. We've got open transmission lines everywhere, unguarded, unprotected, with transformers. You take down a dozen of them, and the East Coast loses power for a week or two in the winter. Hey, am I blowing this out of proportion?
No, you're not at all. These are all possible, even apocalyptic kind of scenarios. And I wanted to get back to something you were saying even before there, which is, how the worldview narrative gets pushed through our social media, into the public consciousness. Number one, we were talking before, the turning against Israel, which is defending itself against existential threat coming from the Islamic jihadi Hamas, backed by Iran. But then here, there's nothing to worry about. These are just, poor folks coming across the border to look for a better life, as we said. But again, among them, There's no question. Our senior intelligence officials, for example, FBI Director Christopher Wray, appearing in a number of different appearances before Congress over the last several weeks this year, 2024, has warned repeatedly. He even uses the term, the lights are blinking red. We have never been in as threatening a situation in the homeland as before 9/11. And then a group of former senior FBI officials actually in January this year sent a letter to senior serving members of Congress, warning them that what they were seeing and from their experience, their professional experience, that we are in an extremely dangerous, threatening situation right now, and nobody's got a grip on it.
And if we get to the day after, you and I are going to say, told you, you didn't listen.